Rely.
All right, next item is review strategic plan.
All right, so we have the strategic plan listed here. We missed it last meeting. I apologize for that, but I wanted to make sure we got right back on it and had it on here. And we just have it on here because like what we did with the meeting with the teachers, we want to keep using this as a touchstone for decisions we're making. And so in reviewing it, we talked first about high quality academics. We talked about recruitment and retention of staff, our culture and community, and our finances. And so it's all a balancing act between all of those things. Obviously the finances, if we had unlimited funds, we could pour them into all those other areas and get more response, but we're trying to be efficient and do what we can with what we have available to us and make a big difference for kids, I think is the biggest thing. And I just think when I read this and I look at it, it's student centered. And I've actually heard that from a couple of people. I turned it in to the University of Idaho with my portfolio. It was something I helped work on, and they loved it. So
I think we did really good.
yeah. I think
And
it's just
Stacia
great,
translating everything for us was on point.
Yes.
right?
Or do you know if we're gonna make a plan to get some sort of a graphic for the buildings to put on the walls?
We need to. I think we
Can we
talked
get
about
some
doing those
ideas?
puzzle pieces.
Or something.
Yeah. I think we need to follow up with that and create that. Yeah,
Oh, part of our art section.
that's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
I'll talk to him. He likes to paint walls. I'll get a big one in like the elementary gymnasium or something with our strategic
I was
plan
gonna say
on it.
something like a contest.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
That we'd
idea.
still have.
Put that in the notes so I don't forget. I'll go to him.
We have them do the posters so we can have one at the high school.
And if he can't do it or he
Junior high.
isn't available, I can maybe have Bella do something beautiful for us with it.
That'd be good.
She's really very talented.
Oh, wow. Anything else on that? Trustee reports? Anything exciting in the last month with any of the trustees? Kind of plugging along.
A policy meeting,
Yeah.
That's exciting.
and I missed the presentation of those policies. I apologize. Good work, team. No, that's all. I'm excited to go down to Boise again, the law conference, and right before that, I'll be at the ISBA executive board meeting as well. So
You were in the magazine.
I was in the magazine with Stacia and Scott for the day on the hill. We're up on the right hand side, kind of towards the top of the steps.
I'm like,
We look good. We
Did
look
you see
good.
me or was I just
Yeah.
by?
Really great.
I was in there too, but I kind of ducked down.
Yeah, that's smart. All right, anything else? Next is the finance report.
Oh, lots happening. So happy spring. The legislators have approved the public schools budget, and the roadshow is scheduled for Monday, April 15th. They have asked that we limit attendance to 4 people. So Mr. Davis, Chair Wilcox, we have a KEA representative, Jackie Johnson, will be attending, and then myself. So that was, the KEA representative was also at their suggestion as well. So we're all kind of hearing the same thing, and we're all on the same page with what came out of the legislation this year. So excited to have everyone attending. That's an all-day thing. So it starts at 9 and goes all day. So the law conference is scheduled for April 22nd and 23rd. Trustees Verkis, Getchis, and Myers will be attending, and Mr. Kirby and myself will also be in attendance. Looking forward to that. May 1st, in fact, that's probably my favorite conference. May 1st is the tax and levy training at Kootenai County that I'll be attending, which that's with the tax commission. Always an interesting training. And then beginning preparations for the budget as we start moving forward and some of those components that Scott and I have been working on and getting ready for next year.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Thank you for that. Next is the maintenance report.
So maintenance report for March 2024. Our new heaters are now operational in the junior high school. We have 400,000 BTU on tap if we need it, so we can make that gym really nice and toasty. We have replaced our zero-turn lawnmower with the same size and brand as the previous one. I think we had the old one for like 15 years, and it's just the motor needed to be replaced, and it cost almost as much as the mower to replace the motor. So we went ahead and got a new mower. So, any questions?
That's exciting. It's good to have the backup heat in the junior high too.
Right. And then we'll be getting the next phase going here pretty soon, and getting that happening over the summer.
That'll be
So probably
good.
next board agenda, I'll have that ready to go.
Nice. And next is facility updates.
During the break, we had the buses moved onto our regular parking lot so we could have some work done in our bus lot area. We had 8 truckloads of gravel brought in and spread to make a nice, firm, and less muddy lot for our drivers. So it was a really good opportunity to do it. They brought in some really interesting gravel. It's not your typical gravel. It's got some geodesic sand in it, so it locks up and it's very firm. It's almost like asphalt over there once it's been driven on, and water goes right through it. So it's really going to be helpful for those guys. It should last 5 years, and then we'll probably have to do it again. But it's much nicer over there, and with not having any reserve bus drivers, I didn't want anybody tripping and falling or getting hurt out there or any issues. Got to take care of them.
That's good. Anything else on that? Next is enrollment.
Open that up. I think it's pretty static. Yeah, enrollment is pretty static right now. Now, I will tell you some good news. Kindergarten incoming so far at 18,
Oh, wow.
and the outgoing class is 7 in the seniors. So we'll probably have some natural growth next year. That incoming kindergarten class will probably grow before it actually comes to fruition. So it's going to be a relatively large class. Our largest class currently is 19. So we're, that's close for us to getting into the large size class for Kootenai standards anyway.
Yeah, how many of those kids are coming out of our preschool, could you say?
I think 5 or 6. So that preschool is nice because it gives us a nice steady, and the kids coming out of there are, sometimes that's a really good program for them, and they're coming out and they're really good. Like they're ready for kindergarten in a big way. And so we've been seeing some really tremendous growth in kindergarten, and our kids are doing really well with early reading and things like this. So it's pretty impressive.
I also think the big thing is the transition. There isn't really a transition from the kids coming in to actually learning, and then, versus kids that are starting out cold.
Yeah, no, I think it's really great actually. And I was in there today, and one of the little girls did a river dance for me. Just the coolest thing I ever seen. I think she must be like 4 years old, and she did this river dance, and she ends up with this little, it was so cute.
Awesome. Anything else on that? Next is data share average daily attendance.
Yeah, I'm trying to share, I want to try to share data with you on something at every meeting if I possibly can. And so we're going into testing, so we're going to have some real interesting data coming up here in a couple months. But we thought this was really interesting. So, and we have our ADA, this was at the end of February, so it didn't include March. And March was pretty bad, to be honest with you. We had a lot of people sick in March. So the 1 through 6, so the way that we have to look at it, kind of the way the state looks at it, they look at 1 through 6 as being our main elementary group, even though 6th grade's in middle school. When they established these numbers, it wasn't. It used to be in elementary school. So that group is currently up until February at 95.07% ADA. So that's pretty strong. 7 through 12 is at 83.26. And there's some reasons for that. One is high school kids particularly drive themselves to school. So sometimes that can be a little bit of a challenge. The other thing is little kids come to school sick because maybe they can't tell their parents they're sick and they're nauseous and things like that. So they get credit for being there. And then they end up going home at 11 a.m. And bigger kids who are 17, if they're not feeling well and they're nauseous and that sort of thing, they keep themselves home. And so we had a lot of sickness with that. Mr. Kirby's been running a raise the attendance program up in middle and high school. And so I anticipate this will be rising. The other thing is the state takes our highest 28 weeks out of 36. So actually at the end of the day, 8 weeks will get kicked out of there. So the really, really sick times a year, or when we got because they know that's going to happen. So I anticipate that we'll be over 85 in high school, which is where we should be. And then elementary will be close to 96%, I think, at the end of the day. So those incentives we've been using in elementary school are having a huge impact now. Hopefully we're not having too many kids in the office sick, because we all got sick as well.
You mind if I add something?
Oh, go ahead.
Mind if I jump in? Yeah, looking at the numbers, we just crunched the numbers for week and a half into fourth quarter. So fourth quarter ADA is in the high school, our lowest class has 92%.
Good.
So we're seriously like 98, 99% is quite a few of those classes. So we're running a competition to incentivize that, and it's really showing up big time. So we're including tardies in that, and we've seen the tardies come down. Like I said, we're only in a week and a half into this quarter, but I think that number is going to be well above 85% that year ADA.
Yes, Mark. Anything else on that? Next is wellness committee meeting.
Oh, so this is an informational item I wanted to share with the board. On April 18th from 3:15 to 4, we're having a wellness committee meeting. We need a board member, a member of admin, a teacher, a parent, a community member, and our nutrition services director to be a part of this team. If you want to help us with this community, please reach out and let me know. My email is sdavis@sd274.com. Again, sdavis@sd274.com. And so if any of you could be on that team, that'd be awesome. We only need one board member. And if nobody could, all we had to do was ask. So it's a different committee than our policy committee. It's made up by the state, and it's very succinct what we're going to do. There's like basically a worksheet that we're going to go through together and answer questions on. And then we will review our wellness policy. And I don't remember the number, but we'll review it and see if there's any changes that need to be made. And then that committee will act like the policy committee on that one policy and send it to the board if there's anything they feel needs to be changed on it. And it has to be done every 5 years. So that's why this is kind of new to me.
Can you attend remotely?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not an action item. It'd be just, somebody would just show an interest, and then
Yeah, just reach out to me if you
I'm
want to be
okay
on it.
not being on it.
And I'll put you on the
Mhm.
committee
I'm
getting
happy to
kinda
do it.
busy.
Well,
Well, this
with
is your busy
policy.
season, isn't it?
2311 policy.
thank you.
Well, people are wanting to, and talk to Scott and then duke it out.
There you go.
Yeah,
It'll be
and there can be more than
overwhelming.
one board member on the team. There's no limit. So
Oh, that's
if
good.
everybody wanted to be on it, you could be on
As
it.
long as it's not 3.
I would just have to post a quorum.
Mhm.
If it's 3 or
Yeah.
more.
Or preferably just 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I
if
think that-
there's-
I don't know. I think you could still vote on it. I don't think it would have any impact on that. But yeah, because it really is just something where we're going through and making sure that, we're giving kids enough time to eat, that our food is nutritious, that we're giving them adequate recess, clean water to drink, things like that. There's other stuff there I can't remember, but it's probably only about a 45-minute meeting at the most. So Audrey will lead the meeting, and she will take us through the process. She's been trained on it. So
So if you're interested, email Scott or let him know, and then if we have to post a quorum, we will. I don't think we will though, but thank you.
awesome.
Next is junior high science curriculum meeting. Set for 4/18 at 4:30.
Yeah, this is just, again, informational. On April 18th at 4:30 p.m., they're going to have a science curriculum meeting, and we wanted to put it on the board agenda so that you guys would all be aware of that. They're looking at our science curriculum. And Mr. Kirby, is this just for secondary?
Yes, it's 6 through 8 science.
Okay.
Will that be like math where there's new books, new coursework, new?
Yeah, so basically what happened is we had a meeting a couple months ago to look at different curriculums offered by the state, as well as look at the possibility of adopting a textbook that was actually donated to us, but we couldn't use it because you got to have it approved. So it was donated to us by a private school in San Diego, I believe. The teacher that moved up here had a bunch of them, and so anyway, they've been reviewed by our science department and myself, and look good. But we want to do the right thing and obviously do it the right way. And we decided, all things considered, with cost and stuff, that this would be a route we'd like to go. But through this meeting, we'd still look at other possibilities.
All right, thank you. Patrons, comments?
I'll check my email and see.
None.
All right.
No, and no one's emailed either, so.
Next, do I have a motion to set the budget hearing date for June 17th at 5 p.m.?
I'll make a motion to set the budget hearing date, June 17th at 5 p.m.
I'll second.
Discussion. So this is ahead of our regular meeting that day. And is our regular meeting, is it a weird week? We pushed it back.
Yes, this is the third week because
Yeah.
of Idaho code. When you set your calendar back in January for this upcoming year, Idaho code says no more than 28 days. No more. I have to remember what the word is, but 28 days before our July meeting. And so June 17th is that 28th day exactly. The meeting before would have been, so you would have had to have another meeting.
So don't show up
So
on the 10th.
yes, so the June meeting is the third week instead of the second week.
All right.
So no
To
meeting on the
accommodate
10th.
that. Correct.
We consolidated it that way. We wouldn't have to have a special meeting.
Correct.
You notice that's the day after Father's Day, right?
Yes.
So it'll be nice and tired.
We'll get you a card.
I just want to make a comment as a father and an educator. Fathers have gotten gypped for years when they
Yep.
put it during the summer and the teachers can't make
Yeah,
Father's Day stuff
that's true.
that's ever going to make it
We
home.
did.
I know, because
Kindergarten and first grade did.
you were a planner, but most people, including me, I never made Father's Day stuff. Always had Mother's Day things going, but
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to appoint a negotiations team for the KEA district negotiations?
Make a motion to appoint negotiation team for KEA and district negotiations.
I will second that.
And
Like
do we have a motion to appoint certain board members?
I'd like to nominate Amy Myers.
I'd like to nominate John Berquist, or do I have to second that first?
I don't know. I
You
couldn't
have
remember
to
how to
second
win
it
it.
first.
I second it. I'd like to nominate John
I think
Berquist.
you can do your nomination for both
For both.
and then a second, and then they get to choose to accept the nomination. So you're amending your motion
I seconded both.
to appoint.
You're
I'll
amending
amend,
that.
I'll amend my motion to appoint Amy Myers and John Berquist to our negotiations team.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Do you guys accept? Would you guys be willing to accept those nominations?
I'll accept it.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Congratulations. Next, do I have a motion to approve the purchase of a pickup truck for district use not to exceed $20,000?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a pickup truck for district use not to exceed $20,000.
Second?
Discussion.
so we don't have a vehicle that, other than the buses that can get out on the road and drive. And we're sending private vehicles down for parts, to fleet parts. We send private vehicles to go do like maintenance stuff, get supplies, concrete, whatever. And I think it would be appropriate for the district to have one vehicle that is a district vehicle that is used for district business, so that personal vehicles aren't being used for that. And I think it creates extra liability having every different kind of personal vehicle out there doing district business. And so We did some shopping. I actually like pulled up just some sheets, like just to see what these things would cost beforehand, and found some very late model, nice pickup trucks with low mileage, 4-wheel drive, everything from a Colorado to a like an F-250, and late model, nothing be earlier than 2010, so it'll be like relatively modern and safe, and not something that's been previously used as a work truck, so the transmission's all torn out of it. But getting something reasonably good. That truck we had before, we sold, I think, for $3,000 roughly at auction. Was that about right? With the plow on it, the blade? And that was probably the blade was more than the truck. And we need to have one truck, one vehicle that's registered in the district's name with a district name on the side of it that can go and do these kinds of things. Especially, we've got a new maintenance supervisor coming on board, and we don't want to have people driving personal vehicles for doing the kind of work we do. And also, being able to move things from one part of the campus to the other, into the baseball fields and to different areas, and including towing a lawnmower or moving, like, just small stuff. We don't need a giant truck. We don't envision using this for a plow. That'll just destroy the transmission on it and it won't last. We have a skid steer that has a plow blade if we ever need to do it. And we have a really good contract right now with a plow company that's doing a good job for us. So that's the purpose behind this.
We did approve one a couple of years ago that we never bought.
That is
And we
correct.
did it for $30,000 at the time, I believe.
Mm.
Also, too, is if, one thing we've run into my business is that if you use a personal vehicle for work, if the insurance company finds out about it, they will not cover
Right.
any claims using, or for that personal vehicle for that person.
So yeah, I think the direction the district went was they got a plow contract that was reasonable
Mhm.
because it was a plow
Right.
truck, but we didn't purchase the vehicle at that time.
So, okay, just some obvious questions. Does it have to be a truck?
I think it should, so that we can carry things in the back of it. Like, for example, we have like a lot of dump material that we could take to the dump and do dump runs with a pickup truck, preferably a big bed on it. We've got that warehouse up there with just trash in it at this point. We tried selling stuff and getting rid of it. Some of it we need to just get rid of. We can't bury it all in a, we want to be good stewards of, ecology. We have a free dump in St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And if we had a vehicle that did they put that scale in play?
They're
finally?
not, no,
Yeah, you
they're-
have to be. put
They're
in
actually
general
double what Coogan County costs currently. So
Okay.
they're no longer that.
Oh, well,
But
It's filled with
we do
dumpsters in
need
there.
to
we do need to clean that
I can
out.
say that.
clean it.
We can't have like
So-
just detritus forming forever. And so then we've got things like, we would like to put a kickball court up on the playground up above, but we've got rock piles and things, and we have no way of moving any of that stuff.
Mm.
Because what are you going to pick a scoop up with the tractor and drive it, 200 yards and then dump it? Or,
Yeah,
So,
I mean, most of them have like
we just
white
need a
with the black
vehicle that
lettering,
can
District 274.
Do we have a trailer, a utility trailer too?
we have 2 trailers out there, and I think they belong to Carl. And so we might try to negotiate one of those away from him, buy one of them from him, so that we have a trailer that belongs to the district also. So that might be a later thing that comes up, but I don't believe, that would be an expenditure that I probably wouldn't even have to bring before the board, because even a new trailer is only $3,000 for a nice little utility trailer. That's actually a really good one for that amount of money.
Mhm. Is it something where, do you guys have a preference on diesel, gas, or?
I don't think that
Does it
budget
matter?
will get us a diesel typically, to be honest with you. Just
Um,
looking at it, I went through, trucks are pretty, I mean, and all vehicles are a little bit dear right now, just because of the, except new cars, they're gonna be giving those away in a minute. I found a really nice, just to kind of put it in perspective, a 2015 GMC, double cab 4-wheel drive for $17,990. And I think it definitely has under 100,000 miles, because I didn't pull any up that had more than that. Something like that
It says two-wheel truck?
with our logo. It's 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't want to get I found a F-350 with 89,000 miles on it, and it does have a Power Stroke diesel.
The gas goes like-
but it's kind of a,
Not as big of a bed space.
yeah, I mean, it's a big truck, but
That's what I was thinking. when I saw
the thing
that.
is, it's not necessarily easy to drive over grass. They're heavy. They're not as nimble. A half-ton truck could be pretty useful for us. And I don't expect that we will ever try to tow the skid steer. It's way too heavy. We would need a new late model truck with a big heavy trailer like a gooseneck, because I think that thing weighs like 15 or 16,000 pounds.
Would you ever need 4 people in it? Because a double stuff like the double cab has more seating. Do you not really need that much seating?
Well, here's the thing. If we get a single cab truck that was a work truck, it's probably been worked really hard. If we get one that's got a double cab or like a mini back cab, it's probably been owned by somebody who really didn't use it as a work truck. And then the transmission and axles and everything are going to be in better shape, probably.
Will this vehicle just be for maintenance use, or then would staff, if they're attending trainings,
So like,
carpooling together?
as I wrote in
Vehicle.
here, anybody who is certified with the district who has a license on file could drive the vehicle for official use, as long as it's approved. So if somebody was going down to the grocery store because we needed ice and water, because, you know, it would be the vehicle we would take. We had that situation where we had to do that because we had the pipe that broke to the elementary school,
I love that.
and we went and got cases and cases of water. And, you know, it was, I had my Toyota truck at that time and I used it, and you know, I mean, I didn't really know better. But
The
in
other option. at
in
that
this
point.
case, I probably would have just gotten the district truck and gone down there and done it that way, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, do I have a motion to approve the revised calendar for the 24-25 school year?
I'll make a motion to approve revised calendar for the 2024-2025 school year.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
When we did the last one, we got quite a bit of pushback. And really it was like friendly pushback, just trying to be helpful, I would say mostly. And we decided, let's go ahead and do the committee one more time, because I think the committee people really didn't get a chance to communicate with their other people on staff. And so we sent it back, and there was some modifications to it. And Mr. Kirby really did a lot of good work on it, and tried to get as much staff buy-in around it as humanly possible. It's hard to get everybody to love a calendar. I'll say
Can't
that.
make everybody happy.
Yeah.
So the biggest change would be, what was the biggest change on this?
Mr. Kirby, can I have you chime in on that? You're the calendar expert on this one.
Yeah. So the biggest change in this is starting after Labor Day as opposed to before,
And she had mentioned it. last
Yes, I
meeting.
which actually gives us an extra, week of summer, and
Yeah.
we'd still be getting out the same
Are you?
time in June. Yeah, we were able to work some things around with our schedule, make some 4 days, 3 days, and whatnot. I don't have the calendar in front of me at the moment, but that's the biggest one. I think spring break moved to the first week of April, which would hopefully make the weather better, because that was a disappointing spring
Yes.
break.
Although
Unless
this
you went to
time-
Hawaii and then.
So we're gonna
Who would
align
do
with
that?
that.
That's rude.
Yeah.
So, those are the big ones from what I can
Okay.
remember. And I think 97% of the
Just gonna
committee
ask that.
felt really happy afterwards.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have a motion to increase the adult lunch and breakfast cost.
I'll make a motion to increase the adult breakfast and lunch cost. Is that what you said? Yes.
I'll second.
Discussion.
So this was based on state recommendations with the cost of food increasing. And, it's pretty reasonable, to be honest with you. They,
Yeah.
About 20-cent difference or for lunch and 10 cents for breakfast.
yeah, I mean, it's still under $5, which is great for lunch, I think. And breakfast is $2.75, so.
All right. Any other discussion on that?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to approve the adjusting of the salary scale for the school bus drivers?
I'll make a motion to adjust the salary scale for school bus drivers.
Second it.
Discussion.
So we've had a hard time, and I think everybody around here's had a hard time recruiting bus drivers and keeping our transportation up and running. And recently we've had to, and we've gone back and forth. Luckily we've got some subs that have been covering for us, but we've had to reduce to 3 routes last week a couple of times, and it's really tough on the kids and the families. And our office has to call all the parents and let them know when there's a shift like that. We need to build a little bit of reserve capacity into our transportation department. And so we need to hire at least one driver who's on standby. And I don't know, we've had some other drivers with some injuries recently. And I don't know the outcome of that. That was today. We were actually dealing with that a little bit and kind of going back and forth on that. And so potentially that person could be back. And we hope they are. But at the same time, we still only have one sub driver for the entire district, no relief driver. And, you know, if we have a field trip during the day, we can't do athletics at night because they go over their logbook times. They're only allowed to drive a certain amount of hours. And so we need to have some other people who can drive for us. So we looked at, and by the way, I need to correct something. Cindy is not the transportation manager. She's the transportation secretary, which I messed up when I wrote it on there. She and I read it together, but somehow we missed that. But then today she wanted me to make sure I clarified that. But we went through and looked at the salary scales of all the districts from Potlatch to Kellogg, right to left, and how they lay theirs out. And we thought, our thinking is that we're remote. Don't have a city like right wrapped around this district. And it's a little bit more difficult for us to get people, and our routes are not particularly the most easy routes either for our drivers. We want to retain the good people that we've got, and we want to be able to get a couple extra people. And we're also realizing that our transportation is offset tremendously by the state. Our mechanics are offset at 85%. That's mechanic driver. And then our drivers are offset 50%. So we created that salary scale knowing that. We also didn't think it was reasonable to have a 25-year scale for bus drivers when it's a typical job that somebody retires into.
Yes.
It's sort of like creating a dynamic where they're not ever going to get to that high salary scale. So looking at some other districts, we went ahead and altered it to a 4-year scale, thinking that any bus driver who's been with us for 4 years is pretty well bought into the work that we're doing at the district. They're not, I think when somebody's been at a place for 4 years and done 4 salary steps, that in that kind of a job that's really kind of typically a retirement job, I think that really, or a second career perhaps, is something that makes more sense than putting them on a 25-year scale. And so that was the thought process there. The other thing is the sub driver being at the same pay as a first-year driver without benefits is something that other districts have done. It makes us much more competitive there. And we're no more expensive than running one of our own drivers on that day if we're doing that, because they're not there getting paid. We're just getting somebody else in. So it makes us much more competitive for having sub bus drivers. And when we consider the market we're in with logging and all the mills around us and everything, and now they've made it harder to get your CDL and to get your passenger endorsement. And not only that, our buses have air brakes. Some districts don't. And so all of our drivers have to be air brake endorsed. And so we found that out because we almost had to hire Kellogg to help us with the transportation situation, and they were super helpful. So I'll give them credit here. They have a little bit bigger department than we do. And we had a trick that we were trying to figure out how to do it. And we didn't think we could pull it off. So I reached out to Lance Pearson over at Kellogg, and he was super helpful and got me with their transportation people. And they were willing to send us over a driver to drive one of our buses. But when we figured out that we had air brakes and they did not, their driver was no longer capable of driving our bus because they don't have that kind of certification. So that we were going to end up having to rent one of their buses and their driver to do that. And it would have cost us about $1,200 for one trip. And
Yeah.
we can see that kind of replicating and replicating and replicating. And so looking at from a cost-effective standpoint, that's where we came up with that. And it's reasonable, but it is very, very competitive. I'm not going to parse words with that. It is very competitive. Like, we should be able to get drivers.
Does this take effect now or next school year?
That's up to you guys. I didn't put that down on this because I didn't know how you wanted to do that. I think that, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that that would be a board decision.
Can I ask a question in reference to that?
Yeah.
Now, I know we were looking at getting a new bus in the future. Is getting one without air brakes an option or not? I don't know how that works at all.
So it's funny, I talked to our bus drivers about that because I was curious about that. Would it be like easier to get certification? And they're like, well, if you got a CDL and you're driving in these kinds of vehicles, you're going to automatically get that. But if you weren't, and this is all you did, like you're not driving a big rig or something, then you would not have that training. And so you wouldn't be able to drive those buses. But everyone said it must be kind of clunky not having air brakes, and air brakes are a safety factor in these
Right,
big vehicles. I think they're fail safe. The air actually keeps the brakes disconnected. So if for some reason the air brakes were to fail, that brakes engage. So the vehicle would stop, kind of like a train.
I was just thinking that if we ever got in a pinch, having one like that would, give us a little bit more flexibility, but I didn't know the safety standards on it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's why we do that.
Okay.
We buy the buses that they recommend at the state, but
Okay.
I could see like if you had an older fleet, maybe
Mhm.
there's some reason that they didn't go with that. Maybe their routes are more flat than ours. I'm not
That
sure.
could be.
I was curious, but I haven't figured that one out.
Okay.
I guess the question would be if we start currently, we have to amend the motion, or next school year. I mean, what are we looking at? What's the urgency with even from now to June with our schedule or sports?
Are we okay till June, or are we like?
I
Hot
mean,
water.
track is really our only sports right now. So there's really one conflict on the 30th. That's really the only conflict for the year. So I would think we would be good till the end of the year.
Anybody else have
I'd like to
any
wait
thoughts?
till the end of the year.
Yeah, to make it clean.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll keep the original motion. If there's not any other discussion, all those in favor would be in notate. We'd actually want to amend it, notating effective next school year.
Yep.
Who made the motion?
I did. So I'd like to amend the motion, adjusting the salary scale for school bus drivers to take effect in 2024-2025 school year.
I'll second that.
And all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, do I have a motion to offer a temporary signing bonus for a full-time / sub bus driver?
Make a motion to offer a temporary signing bonus for full-time sub bus driver.
I second it.
Discussion.
So this was created in order to kind of like charge up our ability to actually get somebody in the door.
Yeah.
So what I did was I said, I recommend that we change our advertising and offer a $1,000 signing bonus, which would be paid after 90 days of successful service to a full-time regular driver. And then I also said, so I recommend a $500 signing bonus for a new sub driver to be paid after their 20th successful trip slip is turned in. That's probably pretty close to the same amount of time. Probably would fall about 90 days based upon how often that we use them on a normal basis. So, it would be very fair to do that. And it hopefully would get us one or two sub drivers in and maybe one extra driver. And that would really, really help us a lot. And
We don't have 90 days to, again, question it, would it be this school year or next school year?
I'd begin it immediately with this, only because we have the position already flown. And that's why I recommended we change the
Posting.
posting to indicate that we have a signing bonus attached. And then that salary scale, knowing that will be there next year, would probably be something we could, tell them about and say, hey, next year it's going to be really, really good. You're going to want to be working for us. And, we're not trying to like take bus drivers away from all the other districts around us. We're not looking to get 9 bus drivers. We just need a couple, maybe one. It just depends on how that plays out. But I think that we need to be prepared to staff up a little bit there.
Now, is this open for current employees too, that like in the NAP situation?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, so now let me clarify that. He already works for us.
Right.
But if it was a new employee, like somebody
Oh,
who's
okay.
working for us, who said, I want to be a sub bus driver, then if we have that advertised on their 20th trip, they would get the bonus. It wouldn't be like the drivers who are currently driving for us, they wouldn't get paid
Okay.
the signing bonus. They might have been working for us for 8 years or something.
Well, a teacher that's currently working for us that says, okay, I will.
Yeah, it's a different job, so I
Okay.
don't see how we could say no to that.
Right,
That would be
Yes.
great if they would do that.
I know.
Yeah. That would be the
Yes.
best person we could get.
But for these bonuses, is there enough days left in the school year for them to get a bonus before?
They might get paid it next year on it. We would just roll into next year,
Right before Christmas. They get their Christmas money.
right?
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, do I have a motion to hire Adam Bridges as our maintenance supervisor with a start date of May 1st, 2024?
I make a motion to hire Adam Bridges as our maintenance supervisor with a start date of May 1st, 2024.
Second.
Discussion.
I can just say that I think that the team did a really good job with the interviews. We had some really great candidates there, and I know it was a hard choice and probably could have gone a couple different ways. But Adam Bridges, to me, is somebody that I've gotten to know as a parent. And I've also, just interacting with him, recently met with him. He is so excited to be coming on board here. And the fact that he's going to have such incredible buy-in for all the work that he's doing. And he's got a lot of experience and certificates. And I just think it's going to be really a good fit for our school. And I think he'll be here long after many of us are gone. And he'll be enjoying a long career here at Kootenai. And so I'm just really happy that we got him. And I think he's going to be one of the best hires ever. So super excited about him.
Seems like I met him at the teacher conferences, and he's, like you said, very excited and excited to kind of jump in, learn the role, and get to work and go from there. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have a motion to approve the Tammy Lowry as a substitute.
I'll make a motion to approve Tammy Lowry as a substitute.
Second it.
Discussion.
Mrs. Lowry has two young, she's got a middle schooler and a high schooler here at the school. And they're absolutely wonderful young ladies. And Mrs. Lowry has been donating her time in the snack shack, working with our booster club and with her husband, by the way. And so they've come as a team. She wrote a letter. I'm going to just read it out loud to the public here. My name is Tammy Lowry. I grew up in Utah, and we officially moved to our property in Harrison last year. I have a wonderful husband and 3 wonderful children and 1 awesome daughter-in-law. We run a family farm and love everything about farm life. I've always enjoyed working with children and known to daycare and a preschool for many years. I was a manager at Walmart and an amazing team in the online grocery department. I had so much fun working at a local vet office and loved learning new things daily. I currently work at Lakeview Lodge and am the main housekeeper. I love to go camping with my family and friends. I have really taken up the love of hiking and love to just walk trails and be out in nature. I spend most of my spare time on our farm, both playing as well as doing all the daily chores that farm life brings. Goats are my favorite animal, mine too. and I can spend hours just playing with them. I also really love to clean and organize everything. I'm currently in the process of building our dream home and love watching all the pieces finally come together. I love being a mom and watching my kids grow and become awesome adults. My newest hobby is learning how to operate all of our farm equipment so I can do things faster. I think she'll be an amazing fit
Sounds great.
as a substitute teacher here, and actually in any role she could fill in all over the place. So
That's good.
we're excited to get her.
Very good. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to approve the resignation of Kelsey Cloud for fifth grade teacher?
Make a motion to approve resignation of our fifth grade teacher, Kelsey Cloud.
I second it.
Discussion.
I just want to say that she's leaving us in good standing. She's going to be missed by everybody. That she just wants to pursue a different career angle, and we all wish her good luck in her future endeavors. She's still going to be a parent here with us, and so we'll see her on a frequent basis, and I hope that she does well and things work out great for her.
Yes. My one of my kids had her in fifth grade and enjoyed being in her class and had nothing but good things to say, and so definitely wish her well. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to advertise for an elementary school teacher?
I make a motion to advertise for an elementary school teacher.
I'll second. Discussion.
We just wanted to go ahead and advertise to obviously replace our missing position, but we put elementary school teacher down because we do have some teachers who have expressed interest in possibly doing some grade level switches. And so we wanted to see who would be the best fit for our school, who's available at any grade level, and then see if that would fit our kind of like a Jenga puzzle piece mashup, and see how that goes.
Sounds good. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to advertise for a welding teacher for the 24-25 school year?
I make a motion to advertise for the welding teacher for the 24-25 school year.
Second.
Discussion.
Our current welding teacher is doing a good job. He's just on an alt off, and by law we have to post the position, and so we're doing that, and we're hopeful that he will have his full credential ready to go and be up and running next year. And if somebody walked through the door who was like amazing, I'm sure that he would be like, well, you should get them. But he is doing a good job, and he's in good standing with us right now. So
How many hours does he work in a week?
he's working 3 hours a day plus a prep, but he's here a lot more than that, to be honest with you.
What's that?
So is he doing more than just welding?
He's doing a CAD class as well. He's teaching Fusion 360. He's real talented. He worked at Boeing previously, and he's been teaching TIG welding, and manufacturing is another angle. We've actually applied for manufacturing to be a offset to welding, depending on how his credential comes out, because they have welding under manufacturing also. And so his take on it's a little different than it was in the past. He's more about like building objects than doing, the welding in such a way that's absolutely perfect. Although he's really focused a lot on TIG welding, which is interesting, but he came from the aircraft industry where they did a lot with aluminum. So he really has a penchant for that.
Okay.
And he's working with lasers and CAD.
Plasma cutting.
Yeah.
And I was here the other day walking around with Scott and went through there, and his energy is really good, and he's had all these projects going on, kids doing all these different things, and
He's amazing.
so he was doing a
He
good
starts
job.
each class with a safety meeting, which I think is pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Good.
Yeah. It's almost like they're at work.
That's good. Let's see. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have a motion to advertise for an English or math. This is for high school. Junior high.
It could be a mixed combo. They go
Uh,
over back and forth between there. 612 credential is what we're looking for.
Okay. Do I have a motion to advertise for a secondary English or math teacher for 24-25 school year?
Make a motion to advertise for a secondary English or math teacher for 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
Discussion.
It's kind of the same situation. We have a teacher who came to us a little bit late in the year, and he's also, I think, is it an alt auth that he's on or an emergency credential on the, I don't think, it's an emergency credential on the English language arts portion of it, but he's taking the praxis exam on April 16th, and I suspect he'll pass it. He's pretty solid. But because of the regulation that we have to fly it whenever somebody's hired after, I think, August 1st, that's what we're doing.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, next we have policies. 21, 24. Oh, God. These are second reads, so we should probably take them individually, I'm assuming, because we went over them a little bit last time. All right, let's, do I have a motion to approve policy 2140 and 2140F?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 2140 and 2140F.
I'll second.
And discussion. So,
This is the family privacy rights and the form for the family privacy rights that we're looking at here.
and this is currently in place, it looks like, and this is an updated version with a form attached pertaining mostly to surveys.
Correct.
On the form, it has your name specifically, Scott. It says Superintendent Scott Davis.
We want to just change it to superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
You can amend that then, that's fine.
That, it just would save
Yeah,
Yeah.
extra editing.
yeah, no problem.
So we would get an updated motion probably to amend the forms to be a generic superintendent. Who made the motion?
Oh,
I seconded.
Oh, okay.
Just to share
So
with the-
I want to
you
amend
can
the
to do that.
policy
So you can-
2140F to remove specific super name as contact.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, do I have a motion to, let me scroll down. Next, do I have a motion to approve policy 2425, including F and P?
I make a motion to approve policy 2425F and
I second.
Okay, that should include it. Okay, so this one is pertaining to parental rights. First reading was last time. We currently have it in place. It's a recommended update, which adds law verbiage, reinforcing the rights and responsibilities as parents as primary stakeholders to make decisions regarding the upbringing and control of their child, as well as other small verbiage. Anything else on this from the committee?
The form is new. The procedure, is that also new? I think it was. So the F and the P are both new. Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So the form is an effort to notify parents, guardians of changes in student health or well-being from staff members.
It mostly this would come from administrators and counselors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And most of it, in talking with Scott, the school is really good at communicating things and working with the counselor. And this just, with the legislative that passed in 2023, this is just kind of us doing catch up to make sure that everything in there, as far as verbiage, is following that. And I think it looked like it simplified things for the form procedure.
It did. I think it's much easier and it gives some definition around it, which makes it easier to figure out what to do.
That's all I have.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. we have a motion to approve policy number 3500 and 3500F?
I'll make a motion to approve policy 3500 and 3500F.
One second.
And discussion.
This is the student health physical screenings. And this is where we have to list at the beginning of the year what physical screenings we're doing. So it'll be the hearing test, the vision test, and the, I think scoliosis maybe is the third one.
Yeah.
And so parents just need to be made aware of that and given the opportunity to opt out if that's what they like. And if we were to add any screenings, we would have to have prior approval, I believe, from the board and also from the parent. So,
And this 3,500 is also on that annual review list of policies, the policy about policies. Looking at annually, yeah. So it is there if it ever needs to have eyes on it every year. It's already on that list.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to approve policy 3345 and 3345F?
I make a motion to approve policy 3345 and 3345.
One second.
Discussion.
now this one was giving me fits, to be quite honest with you guys. It was just a lot. And I finally found this really cool document that the State Department of Education created around this thing. And it basically takes the law and changes it into, okay, here's what the administration needs to actually do to enforce this. And so it's actually a really good document. And it just defines everything in there clearly. And it even breaks down the professional development piece, which was my biggest concern was the PD. How do we do that? And now I know how we do it. And I've actually already talked to Marnie Wadham, who's our consultant. She can do the phase 2, which is the hard part of this one. And she's already employed by us on contract. So as school psych and also as a consultant for us. And so she can help take care of that piece because and then she'll bring in a behaviorist who's another consultant. We don't need to contract her. It'll just be a one-day thing. And she'll do that as well. And then on an annual basis with those folks that need the high level training. So the level for the regular staff is just positive behavior supports, de-escalation techniques, and classroom behavior management. Mr. Kirby and I can do that one ourselves. The annual training that requires for specialized staff is going to be crisis management, de-escalation techniques, correct use of restraint and seclusion, functional behavior assessment, behavior intervention plans, and crisis plans. And so I talked to her about that extensively, and she's confident that they have the skills and she's got a PhD in this and the expertise with a behaviorist and a school psych can take care of that, no problem. And both of us have been trained in all kinds of different crisis management programs around special ed students too. So all that has to happen is I have to determine that we have qualified people. The state doesn't have any indicators around that. There's no requirement that you use CPI or the MANT program. I mean, there's like lots of programs out there. It just has to get those components done in the training. And we have to document that we did the training and keep it in a file folder in the office. The best thing about it though, is it is good training and it'll have a good impact on how people work with kids and it should help everybody in those situations. We don't really have students that get to that level currently. We could get one. I mean, you never know. But we don't currently have that happening. But there's more to it than just having to restrain kids. It's more about trying not ever to need to do that. Everything you need to do not to restrain a student. You only restrain them when they're a threat to themselves or others. Other than that, it's like just move other kids away from them and allow them to de-escalate, decelerate, and get them out of that situation. So this is a great document, helps a lot, and it clarified everything.
It looks like pretty robust.
I know from watching the video from the last meeting, that was something that was kind of, we were thinking
Right.
might need to be kicked back to policy, but if you're feeling better.
Oh, yeah. I think it's timely and we probably need to move on it. And I'm pretty darn confident with this form. I mean, honestly, I wish we had one of these for every policy they came out with. And this is really nice. It lays it out. So it tells us not just what the policy is, but how we implement it, you know?
Good.
And it's the same people that wrote the policy that wrote this, so,
That's awesome.
They align. They
yeah,
really mesh well.
I love it.
That's good.
All right. Good work. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Do I have a motion to approve policy 3010A1 and 3010PA1?
I'll make a motion to approve 3010A1 and 3010A1.
Second?
All right, discussion. This is open enrollment. It's an update to a current policy. And the biggest change was,
I don't really think there's a
I don't think
huge
there was a
change
lot
in
of
this, to be
change
quite
in
honest
the
with
blue
you.
here.
It sounds like there's a big change in it. We can still deny students if they're, you know, poor grades and poor behavior at their previous school or currently suspended, they can't transfer. And we still have a transfer window. We still have the limits on classroom sizes and everything that we can follow. So it really, there's not much of a difference. I think they just kind of like
Formality.
smoothed it out a little bit.
I think that the blue line is that if middle school and high schools have adequate space available, then no admissions requests will be required.
Yeah, because we only have one middle school and one high school, it would be kind of hard to tell our fifth grade class that, hey, now that you're coming out of fifth grade, we appreciate that you've been here for the last 5 years, but you're going to have to reapply for middle school. And then, you know,
Stressful.
and that, I think that could almost be like misused, to be quite honest with you. So I thought that was kind of a bad thing to have.
All right. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is the principal's report.
All right, trustees. Let's see here. Wrapped up teacher evaluations prior to spring break. We got a lot of wonderful things going on. Really proud of our teachers and the hard work they're doing. They're heading into ISATs, and so they're getting into the crunch time. Did want to share, this is off script, but high school science had 71% proficiency this year, up from 57 last year. So they took the test in the earliest part of the window too. So they took it as soon as they could in March, and so that's our first scores coming in. So we're really excited about that.
Nice.
I have given you, and I will not go through this whole sheet, but I did hand you a sheet from our secondary meeting last month. I wanted to have a meeting that was focused around showing teachers what our plans are, what we've decided, you guys as a board and us as administration for our strategic plan, and get their feedback on ways that we can support that. And so it was a really good discussion. We were in there for an hour and a half just talking through things, and had them split into groups and come up with some cool ideas, and we talked through it. So I have separated those by category. As you can see, they'd like to celebrate wins in the public eye, more K-12 PD, which is something I think we're going to focus on more next year. We are a K-12 campus. They had some cool ideas for culture, painting our lockers. Our lockers here in the junior high are blue, and that's not our school colors. So just doing things like that. I think we're already, a lot of the stuff on here is implementations we've been putting in recently anyway, which is pretty cool. They had a really cool one. I actually really like this idea of having a welcome back softball game. If we were ever to get those fields ready up there, I think that might be kind of a fun thing. So they came up with some good stuff, finances, clarity for teacher, classroom program, budget, and what they can spend and what they can spend it on. So really productive meeting there. As far as athletics go, we've got the all-league banquet for winter sports on Thursday. So we'll be sending 3 kids there. They reached out to us since we're the only team in the league with a wrestler. They asked if Ben wanted to come up and be honored as well.
That's great.
So we're going to send our 2 basketball nominees as well as Ben up to the all-league banquet. So that'll be this Thursday. I wanted to give a special shout out to our track coaches, Ashley Rouse, Chris Buchanan. Knapp volunteers his time to help our pole vaulting program. Vince Wilcox. I know we have other volunteers. Wallace's, yep, are helping out in junior high this year. So I want to give a shout out to them and all of their hard work. We got really good things happening. Coach Roush is really on fire with the program, especially this year, and it's really awesome to see.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yep.
Good job.
Good stuff happening.
Yep.
Next is the superintendent report.
Dear trustees, staff, and community, this has been a really nice month to be able to spend some time with friends and family over spring break and to come back to school with staff and students feeling more rested. I was able to meet with Dan Vogt at the State Department of Education, and we successfully got another round of E-rate to pay for more of our internet services. They are now offsetting our internet costs by 70%. We sent a team to Scratch for Schools. Stacia led that team. Good job, Stacia. The lottery program for Idaho, and the team was able to win some more money for our students. How much did you guys win? Do you know?
So junior high and high school won the same amount, $302 each. In fact, our checks just came in today. I gave them to Alicia, which is nice. And elementary was like $260, $280
Nice.
something, I think is what they got.
That's a lot
Yeah.
of scratching.
Yeah.
So good
And now I
job.
have
a lot of
a
work.
method, and I will tell you, I know what to do next time.
Yeah, that's
Amy and I were scratching, and Amy was great. But now I'm gonna get all of those cards. That's
I
my
gotta
goal.
figure it
I'm so
out now, though.
competitive. Yeah, me too. I got a plan. Next year, I'm all in.
We've worked as a team on our school schedule for next year, and I think now we have a pretty good schedule designed. At least we got many voices were heard in the process of creating it. Of course, changes happen and never truly completed until we start out the year. We finished third quarter and just had some very successful parent-teacher conferences with a really tremendous turnout, and so that was actually really good. Our high school students took the SAT test on April 4th, and we're hoping that they did very well. We know they tried really hard. I want to give a big shout out to Becky Naparella. She's a wonderful office secretary and is a huge part of the work that we do at Harrison Elementary School. And thank you very much.
Very good. All right, next is board chair report. Just want to thank you guys again for your hard work. I was able to come through. It's been a little bit of time since I walked the grounds in the board capacity in a way with Scott last week, and just kind of wanted to touch base, and everyone was working hard. Students are working hard. I was impressed with the classrooms, the teachers, everyone's engaged, our lunch ladies, and just really appreciate how the district's coming together. The new art classes we have, you can see a lot more art on the walls. They're painting ceiling panels and incorporating different components. That's exciting to see. So, all right. And then next is board meeting input for the May 13th meeting. Does anyone have anything off the top of their head they can think of currently?
Amy and I would like to get a policy meeting hopefully at the end of this week on Friday. And so hopefully we will have another batch of first reads to bring forward in May. So we'll get you those info to post.
Perfect.
Very good. Getting to the end of the school year. It's going fast. It is.
It's piling up hard.
It's going really fast. And then, like I've said before, if you guys have anything, you can email me, Scott, and there's time between now and then. We'll get it on the schedule. All right. And let's see. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right.
Nice job, you guys.
Impressed.